everybody, and welcome back to the Museum Lovers Museum Reviews. Today we're visiting the Jackson Homestead in my hometown of Newton, Massachusetts. So a little bit about the criteria for a museum review. First thing I do, I go to their website to check how easy it is to receive information, and I also check how easy it is to get tickets, so 2 in 1 there. Next thing I do is I check how easy it is to get to the museum itself. Then once we're in the museum, I check to see how the galleries overall support the mission of the museum. And lastly, we have to consider how easy it is to navigate between the galleries and within the museum itself. So with that in mind, let's go! Nestled within historic Newton's website is the page dedicated to the Jackson Homestead. Here you will find information about admission prices as well as their hours of operation and where the museum is located. This is where you will also find their mission. Built by Major Timothy Jackson in 1809, this federal-style 2-story home sat on 500 acres of land and was donated by Jackson's descendants to the city of Newton, where it's now a heritage site. So the museum is only open to the public on Wednesdays and Sundays, and since I'm off on Wednesdays, of course I went, and the receptionist was quite delighted to see me, because she wasn't expecting anybody to come in today. She was so happy, in fact, that she decided to get me started and talked a lot about the changes that they've discovered since my last visit, which was in the 3rd grade. So of course I first checked out a little bit about the history of the Jackson family, and I picked up a flyer for the National Black History Trail as well, which you can find throughout Boston. The first room that I went to was called Confronting Slavery, which was about the Underground Railroad in Newton. And there was this one object where you could see a map where the folks who owned slaves and the abolitionists kind of overlapped, so you could see, you know, the different perspectives and how close these different philosophies were to each other. I also liked that there were some interactive points, like there were Q&A flaps that you could open and shut. There were audio readings of various historic documents, some of which included letters from Anthony Burns and other abolitionists during the Anthony Burns trial. I also really liked how these exhibits were displayed in earnest, using factual, historic evidence. Nothing was sugar-coated, nothing was making Newton out to be a hero for slavery, nothing made the Jacksons, you know, oh, praise the Jacksons, they did such a good job. Like, none of that. It was earnest, and it made me feel like I was learning a lot. So after we finished learning about black folks from Newton and confronting slavery, we moved on to historic toys. It was a very bright, colorful room, which made me feel like I was a kid again, you know, gave me that retro childhood throwback type feel. Not to mention there were a lot of trains, Underground Railroad, toys, trains, come on, put it together. So this toy room used to be super interactive. You could tell by the toy chests and the little prompts saying, oh, spin this top, ooh, check out this train, things of that nature. Not there anymore for obvious reasons. But I still liked that I learned a lot. I could see some really cool historic toys and learned about how toys reflect a society as a whole. Toys teach children finance. Toys teach children role-playing. Toys teach children industry. Toys are kind of like a sign of progress, which I never really thought of before. I also liked the use of all the really fun colors and all the really fun prompts. It made me feel a little bit like I was in an antique store, which doesn't bother me. I actually collect antiques. The other thing I liked about the toy room was that there was a really cute little train track above your head, you know, chugga 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 chugga. There's a lever there that you could push, and it would make the train go around and around and around and around, but there was no train. Kind of sad. But museums gotta do what museums gotta do. So the lower level of the museum had some moisture damage due to the recent ice storm, which breaks my heart. Moisture can do a lot of bad things to old pieces of history, so fingers crossed for the Homestead that they take their time and make sure that they get these pieces into good shape. Next, we moved on to hair story, hair, culture, and identity. And I made some really nice personal connections to this exhibit. Like there were some pictures from my high school in the 70s, There were also some neat pieces like old hair tools, picks, combs, hair accessories, a lot of print media that covered both men and women, hair pieces for men, products for your beard, fake hair pieces for women, all that sort of stuff. Hair vigor, more like hair vlogger. Am I funny yet? Guess not. There was one kind of creepy thing though. There was a hair wreath. You heard me right, a hair wreath. So in the 1800s, it was traditional to keep a lock of your dead relative's hair and put it into a hair wreath. Your most recently deceased aunt would go in the center and grandma would go out to the side, and so on until you have a wreath of hair. Maybe macabre is the word I'm looking for. It's a little macabre. We don't do that now. The fact that these hair locks were turned into flowers kind of concealed the fact that they were hair, but if you look up close, it's hair. There was also a really interesting part about whiskers on men. There were two pictures. On the left, you had men with whiskers galore, and then on the right, it was a picture maybe 30 years later. All the men were clean shaven, no whiskers at all, which just goes to show that there are hair trends for men in historic Newton as there were for women in historic Newton. Go figure. Exit through the gift shop. You can buy books, you can buy candles, you can buy prints, you can buy magnets. I bought a magnet for my fridge, and you can also buy toys for your kids. So the website was easy enough to navigate. Jackson Homestead is part of the historic Newton, so it doesn't have like jacksonhomestead.org. You have to go through the historic Newton website in order to get there. Hours aren't very accessible. Not everybody's off on a Wednesday, and not everybody has time to go on a Sunday. And I don't know how to make an appointment if I just wanted to visit on another day. Parking is impossible on Washington Street. Public transportation is not readily available. They did a really good job with their exhibits and supporting their mission, but accessibility to the museum, like parking and finding ways for disabled folks to go up to the second floor, might be an issue. We don't mean to knock them. No, we do not. It's a historic house. You can't build an elevator in a historic house, but it does make me curious as to how else they can make the physical site accessible, because they do a great job with online tours, online Zoom lessons, online Zoom tours, There's a lot of great things you can do online, which is very much the theme of this century, this time period for museums. So Jackson Homestead does a great job of that. But it is for those reasons that we have decided to give the Jackson Homestead a 6 out of 10. If I'm missing anything, please forgive me. My camera battery's about to die. Don't die, please. But anyways, what would you all rank the Jackson Homestead? Leave me a comment down below. Where would you like me to visit next? Who knows? We'll be celebrating Black History Month all throughout February by visiting BIPOC museums in order to learn more about their history, culture in the United States. So I hope you all join me too. Be sure to subscribe and check out my social medias. Bye everyone, take care.